almost getting to be a trend here to play a sedate first 10 overs, keep wickets in hand, and then use the old fashioned method of attacking in the final 10, maybe even the final 6. Will that method work for a team who are usually very aggressive up front? Could this be a change of method? Good time to discuss this on Cricbuzz Comm Box with Simon Doull. Doull, is this something we talked about early on before the match started? Could this be the new Punjab way?
Well, maybe just they've assessed the conditions, and I'd like to think they have assessed the conditions and said maybe 165, 170 is a very good score. How do we go about getting there? We cannot do that if we're 3 down, 4 down inside the first 6 or 7 overs. So we have to make sure there's a platform, and if there is a platform, then a Livingston, someone along those lines, maybe a Bairstow, someone can get us 30 off 10 balls, 12 balls. And we can then get through to that 165, 170 mark. And if that's the way they've assessed it, and that's how they're playing accordingly, I don't mind it. Because, time will tell. If they get to that 170 mark and they win the game, we'll say very, very smart batting. So I'm not going to say it's wrong just yet. I'm going to say I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt and saying they've been pretty clever, is what I'll say right now.
Yeah, we'd hope they'd be flexible. I mean, it's one thing to have a method, but as Simon Doull said, if the conditions determine something different, can you adapt? They've probably done so. Chennai didn't need to do too much adapting. If the surface is holding up a little bit, they probably have the right kind of attack to exploit it.
Yeah, they do. I mean, you look at what they've used so far. Tikshana with a couple, Santner with a couple, and then Pretorius and Bravo are all pace off, aren't they, at the moment? Everything seems to be pace off, very little full pace deliveries. Jadeja's been the most expensive of the spinners to be used. I thought Chaudhary was good, again, up front. So if they can get through, they don't have to, they've got 6 genuine options, and they can take pace off at the back end and make sure they slow it up a little bit. So I think all the bowlers have done pretty well so far. It's all going to be around, how do they control this back 7 or 8 overs once they get through to that 13, 14 over mark, and perhaps a Livingston and a Bairstow and these sorts of guys keep coming. How do they control that run rate at the back end, and can they stop the 12s, 14s, 16s and over?
Yeah, the way the attack has looked so far, I think we can club Pretorius and Bravo with the spinners, and only Mukesh Chaudhary has been the quick bowler on view, shall we say. But look, one little blemish, Dooley, and from someone you wouldn't really expect it. He's always so safe with that pair of hands, Mitch Santner.
Yeah, look, he just sort of the boundary advertising, call it what you like, the boundary cushions were a little bit further away than he thought, I believed. And it seemed to be worried about the boundary cushions. I mean, it's a catch he should have taken. Anyone should have taken it. 9 times out of 10, you would expect most cricketers to take that catch on the boundary. It was just a little bit above head height and should have been fairly comfortable. So a mistake, but it's a mistake that's crept into Chennai, which is so unlike them. Remember that, going back to that last game, I think we counted 6 catches that they dropped in that last game, which is just unbelievable from a Chennai point of view. So, if it hurts them, later on this evening, then, it's a big play.
And we'd have to count 2. I mean, I didn't mention Rituraj's catch. It was slightly tougher, but it has to go down as a chance. He got to the ball.
Yeah, absolutely got to it, and probably should have done better. Should have gotten to a better position. So 8 catches in the last 31 overs now. So it's not a good record that they're starting to fashion at all.
Let's look at the batting. And while we were crying out for Bhanuka Rajapaksa to bat at his most comfortable position, is it the conditions again that has determined let's not tinker, let's not rethink, even though Mayank Agarwal and Shikhar Dhawan played out the power play, and let's not send in Liam too early?
Yeah, maybe it is. And maybe they're just saying to Livingston, look, this game is going to be about someone, whether it's yourself or Johnny or Jitesh even to come, Rishi Dhawan maybe later in the piece. But it's going to be about someone getting 30 off 11, 12, 13, 14 balls. And that will propel us from 130 to 165, 170, maybe even beyond. If we can do that late in the piece, we can't go all guns blazing up front and be in trouble, because we don't think that the players sort of from 6, 7, 8 downwards are capable of carrying us through to that 150, 160 score. So how do we best go about getting there? Let's use this method tonight and see what happens. And I mean, although Rajapaksa was quite aggressive when he first came out, he had that life, and maybe he's just settled down a little bit as well. And Mayank was pretty sort of slow up front, wasn't he? What, 18 off 21?
All right, just to conclude, let's look at it from the fielding side's perspective as well. We always tend to look at planning from the batting side. What about the bowling side? They'll know that Liam Livingstone's sitting there, Jitesh Sharma, Johnny Bairstow. So between MS Dhoni and Jadeja and all of them, they'll be saying, how are we going to plan to make sure that somebody doesn't get that 30 of 10?
Yeah. Well, anything 80 or less from now on, I think, anything 80 or under in the last 9 overs is going to be crucial. I'd be interested to see how they bowl to Liam Livingstone, try and use the big side of the ground, although it doesn't seem to bother him when he's hitting the ball well. He'll clear any boundary. But I think maybe slow it up. Jadeja and Santner maybe to take the ball away from him and quite slow and wide of off stump. We saw him get out to, was it Axar Patel? He ran down the wicket to, wasn't it, straight away, very early on in his innings the other night. So look for the left-arm spinners to play a role in that, and maybe, later in the piece for Bravo and Pretorius, just to really slow it up and take it wide of off stump to him.
Yep, he's handed it to Mukesh Chaudhary to bowl over number 12, probably the kind of bowler Liam Livingstone would feast on. So get his overs out of the way. Lots of slow bowling to come. We're thinking, I think, that somewhere between yours, Harsha's, and my prediction should still be safe at the moment. It's going to be in that window.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but anything between 150, 170, and if they go ballistic, then it could get upwards of 170.
Well, it's all in Chennai's hands. Can they make sure they keep it tight? Because it's a big one for them. It's the 2 points they desperately need. We'll talk about it all when the innings finishes. We expect it to be a power-packed finish in the next few overs. We'll see you in the mid-show.